Hi there, welcome to the Noah Presgrove case. I've got a very important video to share with you today, and it's in regards to footage firsthand at the scene at the party house 4 days after the death of Noah Presgrove. Today, I'm going to present to you the footage. We're going to analyze it, screenshots, comparisons to make sense of what's present, what is around, what's no longer there, and compare it to the night or the early morning of the party footage. We're going to go back and forth. So I just want to make that very clear right now. Credit to the individual that reached out to me. I'm not going to mention any name because out of respect for privacy, it's for the best. But you know, people want footage. You're going to get footage today, okay? Welcome to everybody who is watching during this live premiere. Share your thoughts, opinions, reactions in the live chat box on the right hand side of the screen. And anybody else catching up in this live premiere later on, be sure to rewind and watch this whole video. And that applies to everyone to get a full understanding of what we're looking at today, the importance behind it. You don't want to miss anything. If you do want to catch up on recent videos of mine after watching this, top right corner of the screen where the I symbol is, click on that. You'll find the full playlist by me of all the videos that I've done and coverage, and as well my previous videos as well. Some very interesting ones, focused, smaller scale. Be sure to catch up on them. And for anyone at any point in this video, you want to react, you want to share your thoughts. If you see something that's very odd or strange or something that I don't notice, you can let me know down below and provide a timestamp as well, okay? And if you do have questions, list them down below. Also, below you will find a pinned comment by me with some additional links if you want to support the channel in alternative ways. And as well, big shout out to recent people for their support on this channel directly on YouTube, and shout out to that one individual in recent time elsewhere. That's all good to see. So without further ado, the way we're going to do things today, I'm going to play you this raw footage right now. There will be some background music just because there was no audio with it, and the music is copyright free, all under control. I'll play it to you. It's not that long, but it shows a lot, okay, from the perspective of the outside of the party house 4 days after, the event of Noah Presgrove. So look out for yourself. Let me know, what do you see in the shot? Does anything stand out? And then once that footage is done, we then go on to the screenshots and compare one with another and talk it through. Because whilst the footage could be a little bit short, the analysis will clear things up, and I will make it very clear when we get to that point when it comes to comparing from original party footage and this alternative footage 4 days after. I'll make it very clear. So let's get straight into this footage and make sure to listen in. After viewing that footage, there was quite a creepy, eerie atmosphere to it, driving down that dirt road to the property where who knows whatever happened on site or nearby, almost like the perspective in an alternative way of Noah Presgrove, this time entering the property. Now, as for the time of day, early hours of the morning or night time, I'm not too sure because that wasn't given as for a description. And as for the sky, it does look kind of bluish. maybe it is nighttime going into the evening, but one thing for certain, the person that recorded this footage did say they were down there 4 days after the death of Noah Presgrove and the party. And the reason why that's very relevant is because this is the last known place where Noah was supposedly last seen and attending the house party. And with hearing of the stories of Noah maybe having conflict and tension with other partygoers such as his best friend Jack, and as well Noah wanting to leave but no one giving him a ride back, it's trying to figure out what happened to Noah to cause him to leave, most definitely, and how he left and how far did he get and did anyone follow after him. Okay, in terms of this footage here, it's important just 4 days after the death of Noah. What were people doing? Where were people? How many were at the house around this time? Because granted, although it wasn't cornered off and treated as a crime scene, there are many vocal people in the community that believe it should have been treated as a crime scene, investigated, searched, and maybe the occupants within ordered to leave the site whilst investigations are underway. But that never happened, unfortunately. But I don't know if you saw it in the footage, I saw some maybe unusual activity just outside the property on the left-hand side around one of the walls. As said, I don't know if you saw it, but I did get a screenshot of it, and that's what we'll be looking at. Another thing I just wanted to point out is that footage, what we looked at, I did slow it down, so it was a bit longer in length because the person was moving in a vehicle. So I thought by slowing it down, it would be easier for you to see. Now, if you didn't quite take it all in, or you just want to rewatch it, you're welcome to rewind this video back to that point and watch it over. But right now, it's time for me to analyse the screenshots from that footage, and I do have a couple of them. So to kick things off, what we're looking at on screen is obviously the dirt road heading down to the property. And of course, if you used to go all the way down, you'd reach that other property where the trailer was, in which supposedly at some point in the past, Stevie Howard was living in that trailer. I don't know how relevant that is till this day. But in terms of directions, northeast, so we're facing west, I believe. And I don't know if you can see in the distance over that way, but that's where the woodland is. And over that, past that, is that river and Texas, if I'm correct in saying the borderline. You can see some overhead power lines too. Now, as a quick comparison, just to put it into perspective, this photo, what we're looking at, is from Google Earth Street View imagery. You would have seen it before. Now, it's not as zoomed in, it's not up close as this footage is, and that's just because Google Street View did not go down the dirt road like this person did, but it's just to compare. So you see that tree there, that big bushy tree there is what you see here on the right, okay? And behind it will be one of the buildings, which, well, it's kind of like to the side, that building there, okay? So that's just to put into perspective first of all. This is the footage 4 days after the death of Noah, and this is just a street view imagery in general, no year given, right? Moving on. Getting a bit closer to the property, you can see, I believe it's a barn or some kind of shed in the distance. Whilst that didn't play a big role in the party footage, the party footage being from the point of view of the party goers on September 3rd, September 4th, 2023. The building does make an appearance when you saw Noah Presgrove getting slapped by Brylan, and then as he ran away. It'll make more sense later on once we get to that slide. Now, this one, once again from the 4-day footage, is when looking underneath the tree, you can make out the front of the party house itself with the lights on. So obviously there is activity, and of course there are some vehicles parked up. You call them SUVs or more so pickup trucks. I'll try and zoom in if possible. I've got to zoom in on the side of the screen because if I do it in the middle, it kind of messes up, and that might happen in this video, so apologies in advance. But look, you can see the party house, and that does look like the front porch. Take notes, okay, because this could be linking to Jasmine Milan. You remember Monday morning, 3:41 a.m. Snapchat captioned, well, Noah is missing, right? If she was on the front earlier as well, 10, 11 minutes before, could she have seen Noah leave? You never know. So if I just double tap there. Next slide is of the party house on the right hand side. Okay, so this is going past the tree. You can see a bit of the branch, top right corner of the screen. The reason why I took it from here is because you can kind of see the light where it's coming from. It's in the corner. I don't believe that's a camera. It's just a simple light. Is it a motion one? Probably not, because it remains on throughout the footage. So you can see the brightness, how it is lit up despite it being in a very dark area, a rural place. You'd see the lighting as well within the original party footage too. But the other interesting thing that stood out to me was, well, yes, you see on the front, I'm not too sure if you can quite make it out, but if I just try and zoom in a bit more, there we go. You can see those poles in the ground which kind of hold up the roof. It's like a veranda, like a porch overhanging roof on the outside of the building, so you can gather underneath outside of the building but stay protected against the rain. I don't know what's the term for that, but you can see on the right hand side round the back of the house they've got an overhanging roof as well, which is quite useful, of course, for cover against rain whilst getting fresh air. But at least from the party footage of what we saw, yes, they were outside, they were underneath one of the overhanging roofs, but they were around the front. So what you see on the left-hand side, round the back, is there any relevancy to the party footage? I don't think so, at least from the stuff I've seen. But it was Jack Newton that said round the back of the house is where the ATV accident occurred, in which Noah flipped it over. So that's just a little reference point there. Okay, we just move on now. This is getting much closer, and granted this one is blurry, but I just wanted to try and get a screenshot of it. I don't know if you can see, but center of the screen there is a mailbox. I just wanted to point it out as an observation. A mailbox. I don't know what's next to it though. Another mailbox. You can see the white box, but I don't know what's the dark black or brownish thing by the side of it. But yeah, you got that. Is it filled with any mail at that time, at that moment? No clue, but you never know. Now, just moving past it a little bit more, you see these signposts and then like a white box below it. Is that box electricity, gas supply, water supply? I'm not too sure. What are those wooden signs and posts stuck in the ground? Could it be saying private property, keep off? Don't be coming down here? I mean, at least from what I remember, when looking at the signs, if you was to turn down that dirt road to come on down to the party house or go on beyond, there was no private signs or anything saying keep off, private land. But maybe this sign does. There looks to be a lot of text written on it. Now, if anyone has seen it for themselves in real person, anybody else or anyone that wants to explain what those signs actually say, you're welcome to do so down below. But something tells me it could be to do with private land, keep off, possibly. But I don't know why you need two red signs. Normally, a red sign can be quite bold. It could be a warning, as you'd think, right? And then in the distance, we'll get a bit closer, but you start seeing that barn, that shed building. Now, this is just before turning on the right. Looking down that way, as I said, if you used to go further down, it's a dead end. You end up coming to that other house with the trailer. But beyond that, it kind of dips down the gradient, and then you've got that woodland. And then beyond that, you've got the river. I think, is it called Red River or something? You can clearly see the powerhead overhead lines that go all the way down and cross over the road as well. Take in mind, this is a dirt road, so you can see that for yourself. And there is quite a bit of thick vegetation on both sides running down in parallel to the road and on the sides. I think, I could be wrong, but there is fencing as well, but that's camouflaged by the vegetation, just to point out. So the next slide will be turning to the right, entering, going on site to the property. Now, at least from the street view, the satellite imagery, it looked darker in colour, kind of like a greyish gravel possibly. Will it show up on here? We'll see. But you can clearly see the barn shed there. That just so happens to have like an overhanging outer roof so you could stand underneath it. Did it show in the party footage? Only in the background, as I said. What's inside of that barn? Who knows? Did anything happen inside of that barn shed with Noah Presgrove? Who knows, right? Has it ever been searched? Not from the looks of it. If the house wasn't, then this probably wouldn't either. Was it storing any vehicles, any farm equipment? I'm not sure. I'm just throwing out suggestions and ideas. You can always let me know your thoughts down below. I mean, when it comes to sheds and barns, it instantly reminds me of the Dylan Rounds case with that situation. The exception being it was inside or just nearby where Dylan Rounds was shot by the person living on site, supposedly squatting, James Brenner. So, getting closer, this is where it stood out to me. And I think the next image might be a comparison to the party house footage. So, what you see just to the right is basically a light, a lamp high up in the air to illuminate the surrounding area. So there'll be some kind of supply nearby to allow the electricity to run through, etc. on site. And of course you need suitable lighting around the area considering how dark it is. It's kind of like in the middle of nowhere in a way. But you know what's more interesting that stood out to me? Is that there is actually a basketball net just there. Can you see it? Basketball net and hoop. Hopefully you can see that. You can see the post as it goes up and you see the backboard. You can kind of see the hoop area and the netting as well. Did anyone play basketball at the party? I don't know. But it's just a little observation, right? And that was present. Is it still there till this day? I don't know personally, because at least when looking on Street View, it would be hard to see because it's not 3D rendered. There we go. So this is actually the party footage. This is the party footage, and this is the footage that was taken about 4 days afterwards, right? Granted, this party footage could have occurred Sunday or Monday, early hours possibly, but just as a comparison, what you see there is Brylan Sweat as he runs away after slapping Noah Presgrove. And as the camera pans around, you see in the backdrop on the left-hand side, just there is the kind of like round the side of the grain shed, not the grain shed, apologies, that's Dylan Rounds, just the barn, the shed itself, what I was pointing out before, round the back. And then just in front of him is that big post, chunky one that goes up with the light shining. What you see there is what you see here. Can I zoom in a bit more? That there. That in the middle of the screen is what you see here, just from a different angle. Hopefully that makes it clear. Moving on. Back to the relevant footage 4 days after the party. This is where things get really interesting, and I don't know if anyone else saw it, but there is clearly a person stood outside. Now the question is, why and who? Is it just a coincidence, unfortunate timing? I'm just thinking, with a vehicle driving down, such as this person, from their point of view, they turn right to enter onto the property, and there's clearly someone kind of leaning on the side. Let me just zoom in just to make it clear for you. That's a person. That is a person. Now, what gender? I don't know. It looks like it's the side profile of them. So they aren't directly looking at the car coming onto the property, it does look like that they've got their arms folded. They appear to be dressed in white, but so does their head. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. When I saw this first time round, it looked like one of those forensic people. Do you know where they wear the white overalls, which covers their whole body and head? That's what stood out to me. Now, as for the height of them, 6 foot or under, probably just under 6 foot. As for size or weight, they look a little bit wide, but it's kind of hard to tell because it's a bit blurry and it is a side profile from the looks of it. Do they move during the footage of what we saw earlier on? Not from the looks of it. I mean, I was rewinding it back just to see, do they hide around the corner of the house? You get what I'm saying? It's kind of like when it came to the Dylan Rounds case and there was a flyby over, which was like 4 or 5 days after the death of Dylan Rounds, and the killer, unknown to some at the time, who's living on site near the grain shed, had a trailer. And when Heavy D and his crew came on down to search for Dylan Rounds by doing aerial flybys, they went over the property, they went over Brenner's trailer, and you could see in a still screenshot that Brenner's trailer door was half open, or no, under half, just open a little bit so you could see the gap. It was as if he was peeking out round the corner. So you look for that. If anyone's hiding or suddenly starts to hide or disappears around a corner, it might be because they're trying to get away from you, or they want to see who's approaching on site, but they don't want to be seen themselves. Well, in this case, this person was like standing idle, looking off into the distance, maybe having a breather. I said, I don't know who this person is, but it's definitely a person because I did see movement, right? Is it one of the party goers? Is it Carter Combs? Is it Avery Combs? Anybody else who you could think of? Is it Stevie Howard? Not too sure. But why are they all dressed in white? Could it be a dressing gown? I'm not too sure. I'll just throw out some ideas. You can let me know what you think. But especially when you zoom on out, you can clearly see a human figure stood there with their arms crossed. Couldn't make out their face, so it looks like they got the back facing this person. But you could see, once this person drove on site, they quickly turned around. And I don't blame them. It's probably because they saw that a person was outside of the house at the time. Is it just a coincidence that the person was outside of the house, or I don't know. Is it because supposedly there are cameras on one of the buildings, I think further up the road, closest to where you would enter? And if any cameras detected any people coming down on site, would someone anticipate anything? Who knows? Like, was anyone on edge at the time? Because if this is only 4 days after the death of Noah, was anyone shaky? Was anyone paranoid? Anyone that could have been responsible who was just so happened to appear in this footage? I don't know. There's a lot of different questions, right? The other thing, what we can't ignore, is the vehicles, right? You see them parked up, looks like pickup trucks. There's a white one there on the left, just near to that person. Then on the right hand side, there is another pickup truck at a different angle, looks kind of a dark colour, maybe black. Anything else? But you got the party house itself. The windows appear to be closed, or there's blinds, curtains covering the windows. Any reason as to why? To block anyone from seeing through the window, possibly, or just a normal thing to do when it gets nighttime because of privacy with having lights on within. You know, just acknowledge the different points there. As for the ground itself, it still looks like a dirt road, doesn't it, with grass nearby. So where's the actual gravel? Unless that's further to the right, which is out of shot. But take in mind, in fairness, 2023 this would have been, because it's 4 days after the party, and that was in 2023. So from then till now, many months have passed by. There might have changed a bit of the landscape. You never know. So yeah, you got that. Any track marks? Well, yeah, there is actually some track marks. I don't know if you can see there. Some track marks. Is that from people coming and going, visitors? Were those track marks from the party days before of somebody, maybe? I mean, we can also check out for any track marks which would indicate a possible accident incident with the ATV tipping over. I've not seen any deep ruts in the ground or the grass or any skid marks, not for that to be taken out of context. So, you know, a vehicle was going up and down, or it drifted and did a hard turn which caused it to tip over. It could have caused, you know, damage to the ground or the grass or left marks going along. I don't seem to see that. Only that there, and that does appear to be on a bit of an angle or a bit of a curve, as if someone was turning down but then did another turn around like a donut. I'm not saying that that's the spot where the ATV tipped over, but it does look like someone's turned around abruptly. And I'm not talking about this person here from this footage, but can you see, it looks like either a donut or half of a donut if a car was drifting or turning. So the ground is a bit patchy, in which it does leave track marks, which is always interesting to look at. Moving on, this is the party footage, okay? In the background, you see that barn, that shed. And I think what might be more interesting is the fact that the door behind that guy in that greenish top or whatever, behind him, you can see the entrance of that barn or that shed, and it looks like the doors or the shutters are up, open, because you can see within and it's really dark and black. Why would that be the case? Was it in use at the time of the party? Was something being stored in there whilst partygoers came down? Or were items from that shed brought out for the party? I wonder. I mean, comparing it to what we see here, it looks like it's completely shut up. Now, I don't know if it opens up like a garage, however you say it in America, or if it slides across like a door, if it goes up, down, or slides left and right. But that does look closed, doesn't it? If it was open, it would be dark within, like an opening, like a cave. 4 days later. 4 days before, though, at the party, you can clearly see that it's open, or it appears somewhat open in the background. Open enough for a person to walk on in and out, to store a vehicle inside. ATV, trailer, who knows? But it looks like it was in use. But 4 days after, it wasn't. It was shut up. What's within there? Were they hiding anything inside? Who knows? Anything else of value here? Well, there are people, as you see, I can't identify everyone there because the quality isn't great, but if you want to identify people, you're welcome to do so. You can see the bright lights as well underneath this overhanging roof with the poles holding it up, the foundation structures, like what we saw earlier on. There are some vehicles parked up, a range of them, with the party goers. Moving on. This is looking back at the relevant footage of today, 4 days after the party. And this is when the person in the car, as they're turning down the road, they kind of move and pan the camera further to the right of the house. So you're looking almost maybe dead center or towards the middle of the house. Okay. And you can see that black pickup truck on the left there. I know it's a bit unclear, but that's the black pickup truck. What you see there is what you see here. Okay, that's the back end of it, and then you see the rest of it in the next slide. And what you see there is the front porch. The front porch. Okay, very important. Front porch there where that blinding light is, and just below it in front is that pickup truck, what I said. Once again, windows are closed. Then on the right, you've got another white looking pickup truck. Now, who do these vehicles belong to? You would think the people that actually live there, if I'm correct in saying. Now, you got Carter Combs, Avery Combs, Stevie Howard maybe. Are those the vehicles who they belong to? Maybe, maybe not. If anyone can identify them, that would be appreciated. I'll try and do maybe a comparison of what vehicles were present at the party and which ones that were present afterwards, 4 days after. But the other relevant thing I wanted to point out, and granted it does look blurry, but when you look at it zoomed out, at least the first thing that came to my mind was dogs. It appears that there are 2 dogs on site, on the property, just outside. Could I explain why that person is out on the far left-hand side, round the corner of that building? They decided to let their dogs out for a walk about, and that person was just getting some fresh air as well at the time. Possibly could be innocent, but you know, when you think of dogs, you're going onto some private property or some land, private or not, and maybe you're turning about and you think, oh shit, the dogs are there. Hopefully they don't come up to me or start barking. They could be aggressive, they could be dangerous, or they could simply alert people at the house. You know, if you're getting on site somewhere, dogs start barking, it alerts people inside, they come rushing out. Sometimes you don't always want to hang around. Now, from the looks of it, the dogs weren't fazed when this person drove down when simply turning about. But still, nevertheless, it could be a form of security. It could be like an alert system to the people that live there. Can you see the dog there? Now, behind it, I think it must be a shadow casted. Then on the left, you got that other dog there. Granted, it's very blurry because of the motion. But to me, it does look like a dog, and it was kind of moving as well. So let me know your thoughts there. Is it backed up that the people that live there, whether it be Carter Combs, Avery Combs, or whoever else, do they have dogs, or did they have dogs in 2023? And if they did, were those dogs present at the party 4 days before this footage? Yes or no? I'm not saying we have to interview the dogs, even let alone get a dog whisperer in, because obviously it's not going to work. They don't talk, do they? They could bark, you're not going to get much out of them. But I'm just pointing out everything that I see in the footage because I don't really want to miss anything. But yeah, what you see there, the front porch, looking further within, the front door, and then looking beyond that, inside of the house. That appears to be the spot, supposedly, where Jasmine Milan stood when taking that photo. I'll do a comparison later on, and you can see it for yourself. Moving on. This was, I think, a bit earlier on in the footage, just from a different angle, because you can see the other white pickup truck. So in total, there are 3 pickup trucks parked up outside of the party house 4 days after the death of Noah Presgrove. Are these trucks belonging to the people that live there? You would think so. Any of these trucks visible in the party footage from a certain angle? I'm not too sure. They could have been moved about since if people have come and gone, but I'll try and take a look. You can see how long the building is, but it's a single story building, possibly, unless there is an attic of some sort in the roofing area up top. But you know, it's kind of a small house in my opinion, just a long one. Maybe I'm underestimating it, but at least from the limited footage that I've seen, that's what it appears to be. There seems to be some stuff outside there, but I don't know what that is. A barbecue, a chair of some sort. You know, what would have been left? What's the state of the building? Does it look like a party happened? No, not really. Now, granted, if you were up close or inside, if there was any stains or marks, maybe, but if it was supposedly cleaned up or part of it was, then you may not know. Now, what we see here is the party footage, and in the back you can see a black looking pickup truck on the left behind the guy with the rifle. The guy with the rifle called Isaac, don't know their last name. The person next to Isaac, but behind Noah Presgrove with that pinkish banner, is Avery Jo Combs, the party girl at the time, 22nd birthday, I believe. In front there is obviously Noah Presgrove with his cap, his hat. Is he wearing his necklace in that photo? Well, that screenshot, can't tell from that angle. But at least when Noah's body was found, such as when Caden Pressey came across Noah's body in the early hours of the morning after 5:15 a.m. Noah Presgrove's hat was supposedly not present, so left at the party house, maybe. Isn't it interesting how Noah's hat was lost and so was Jack Newton's? What is it with losing hats? As for the shorts, what you see there, the black shorts, I've just remembered there is an important observation and finding which I came across. I don't know how relevant it is, but I did notice something kind of interesting about the shorts. And granted, I have done a video in the past where I looked at some underpants for 20 minutes and did an analysis. And no, I wasn't undercover at the time. They were found in the desert, and it was to do with Kenny Veach, trying to wonder if they linked to him. It remained unsolved, a bit of a mystery that, but you know, you never know. But with these shorts, I did notice something on him, and I'll do a separate video about that. You know what? Give me a second. I need to write it down right now, because it's really important, this. I do not want to forget about it. So, Noah's shorts. I can't even spell. Never mind. Noah's shorts. You hear some more writing, but I'm not going to tell you just yet. You'll have to wait for that video to come, because I did see something. Right, there we go. So I'm writing notes on the spot. Isn't that a change of things? Because normally I don't do that. It's more of a reminder. Now, what's in his pocket? A can of some sort. He's holding one as well. Shotgunning, not literally. I think that's the act of putting a hole in the side of a can and then drinking it quick, and it tends to be beer. Bit of a competition with who can drink it, who can finish it faster, I believe. But as for the shorts, as I said, supposedly on Noah's body at the time of when he was found down the highway, and witnessed by Caden Pressey, who saw it himself. But in terms of after that, in terms of possibly what Tyler Hardy may have said, as I said, because that Daily Mail thing, it was never cleared up my questions, which is very most unfortunate, but it is what it is, that Tyler said naked, that the autopsy said naked, not wearing the shorts. Where did they end up? Where did they go? Taken away by police, maybe? As I said, we need to go back over that type of stuff when there is time. But most importantly, right now, the focus is, you see, I think that could be more of a bluish, a dark bluish black pickup truck on the left behind Isaac. And then to the right of Noah, a reddish or burgundy pickup. Do those appear in the footage, what we saw before? I don't think so. There it is. That definitely didn't appear. Any more? I said the angles were limited. So there might be the exception of one vehicle, the white SUV, which may have showed up there to the left. But still, I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's hard to compare when there's different angles and different lighting. But maybe you see something I don't. Now, you caught a glimpse of this. This is actually zoomed in from where I said the front porch way. You can clearly see the door as well. And most importantly, you can see that glass panel, which is an oval shape. Does that ring a bell? Does that seem kind of familiar? Well, if not, let me reintroduce you to Jasmine Milan's post. You should be able to see it clearly here. Now, granted, am I saying with 100% absolute confidence that what we see here, center of the screen if I zoom in, what you see there where that arrow is pointing, that glass panel of the front door of the porchway, is the same exact one which Jasmine is stood in front of, as you see just above. Can you see that panel? It's an oval shape. It does match. 90% possibility. And the reason why I say that is when we were looking back at the party house, okay, from the perspective of this other individual driving on down, and I said round the back you do have an overhang roof which you can stand underneath outside of the building, on the front and on the back. If you've got a front porch, can you have a back porch? Most definitely, you can have a back door, and if there's a roof as well, it could be classified as a porch. But normally porches tend to be, are porches normally classified and linked with the entranceway, the front door, or can you have a back door porch? I think you can have whatever you want, really. All I'm saying is, if it was the back porch, if there was one, if it did exist, and it had the same exact glass panelling, possibly, then you could say Jasmine Milan was round the back instead, round the back of the house at the party. I just wanted to point that out there, but up until now, I've not seen any footage of round the back. Unfortunate, limited. So let's just go along the lines with, this looks the exact same as what we see here, as for like the background of where she stood. Front door, possibly, likely. Outside, absolutely. Because you see the door back there with the glass paneling. You see the light shining through the glass, because if you used to look through that, you're looking into the house where the light is coming from. Granted, there are outdoor lights as well, but you look at the reflections, you look at the glass, the colouring of it. That light, that source is from within. Okay, now the glass paneling looks maybe blurry in the sense where you can't look through, but the light, because it's clear, does still shine and illuminate the area surrounding spot. So yeah, 3:41 a.m. September 4th, 2023. Supposedly, roughly, about 11 minutes this was taken. Uploaded at the same exact time, not quite sure there, but at least taken at 3:41 a.m, 11 minutes after Noah Presgrove supposedly departed the party and walked away. Which direction did he walk in? That wasn't exactly given. Saying he left the party around 3:30, that's what's been said. At around 3 in the morning, Noah supposedly approached Caden about having a lift back home, and obviously it was denied. Noah also reached out to Carter Combs before or after that, I'm not too sure in exactly what order, about it, and that was turned down as well. So really, even supposedly Noah asking other people as well in between for a lift back, no one seemed to give him a chance. Why was that? Did everybody not like him? I mean, in defence of Caden Pressey, Caden said he was drinking and he was trying to be responsible and he didn't want to get in trouble, and of course didn't want to harm anyone as well by driving. But it was said that there was at least one designated driver, so a person that's not drunk, a person that can drive drunk people home safely. Now, who was that designated driver? I saw a comment online. I'm not too sure if it was Sarah Long or Renee Milan. One or the other, possibly. I don't want to be too certain, but it was definitely from one of the adults, one of the possible parents, or those connected to some from the party in some way, that was saying at least you had a designated driver. Was it when Sarah Long was defending Jasmine Milan, as you see on screen? This is Jasmine Milan, possibly. At the time of when Jasmine Milan was being questioned and people suspicious of her original post, which was later deleted at the time onwards, within the opening and beginning of the Noah Presgrove case and investigation. Deleting it, why? Because they felt that it could incriminate themselves, or it could just make themselves look suspicious, even though it's an innocent post. Well, if you are innocent and you care about Noah, you would care to preserve evidence, and yet the intent was to delete it. So why do we have it here? Because I believe it was archived by people at the time of when it was posted, screenshotted somehow. And even if it wasn't by the public that archived it, maybe police authorities could get a hold of it in other ways, even if it was deleted. But nevertheless, it's the attitude behind it. It's the original mindset of, must delete, I'm going to get rid. Not just Jasmine Milan, but supposedly other partygoers deleting their own post and social media stuff. Why? You know, it makes you think, if it wasn't for Noah Presgrove's death, would all the footage have been deleted, or any of the social media stuff, or would it have remained public? Because if it remained public, it would say that the death of Noah Presgrove was the turning point and catalyst for people possibly cleaning up after themselves in other ways digitally, right? But yeah, just to refer back to what you see on screen, do we have any others more? No, we don't. This is the final slide. But you can clearly see Jasmine Milan, September 4th, roughly 10-11 minutes after Noah supposedly left the party, in whichever direction. You'd be thinking either going east or going west. In terms of the footage, what we've seen today, just to get back to the dirt road at least, almost like the beginning shot, bear with me. This one here, that's going down to the party house, so you're going down west. So if Noah Presgrove was leaving the party, He could have cut across the grass, walked across, or followed the pathway, but he would have been on foot, wouldn't he? Right? Would he have gone down that way, further down, which would have been west onto the dead-end road and then through the woodland? Probably not, right? You'd have seen the angle he could have come out from. Did he exit from round the back and come round the side of the house, or did he exit through the front door, the front porch? Which door, which exit way did Noah Presgrove leave? And in which direction did he go, left or right, down the dead end or towards the highway? Yes, his body was found at the highway, but it suggested that he was dumped there. And with lacking blood, the rest of it, where else could that have been? At a different spot where he was actually killed, fatally hurt, damaged? Would it have been on site of this property though? Would this land, and was it tribal land or something, in which Stevie Howard at some point tried playing the tribal card and Native American card and saying that she's linked to that? So, if police are going to investigate or come on down, you can't do it. You need to contact the tribal police. So it's got like delays on top of delays, using a free pass card to maybe, I don't know, drag out things. Did that definitely happen? I don't know if it definitely did happen, or if it was just said that that's what they would do, that's what they would use if the land was to be searched. But, nevertheless, you got a certain presence aura about yourself. You're known in a community, you want to maintain credibility, you don't want your image to be harmed or tainted, black, damaged, whether you're there at the party or not, or you just live there, or you own the land, and you find out the death of somebody. You're not going to be too pleased if it happens on your land, so you'd be moving it away, or people who are already there at the party may want it moved away. Kind of like how Avery Combs was talking to Isaac about other stuff, saying, no, you can't be doing it here, right? That could be completely unrelated. Could be to do with, can I fire my gun? Can I shoot my gun? And Avery's like, no, not round here. We don't know where people are at. Vehicles, parts here and there. We don't want any damage. Yeah. Oh, you can do it elsewhere, but we don't want it done anywhere around us. We don't want to have to clear up after ourselves. We don't want blood on our hands. That's just an interpretation in an indirect way, from my opinion and perspective. If we was to apply it to the possibility that if Noah Presgrove was killed, supposedly on site here, and if his body was moved away, to shift the heat, shift the focus elsewhere, so this area would not be searched. Just working it out as we go along. But I'm very interested in, who is that person back there? Who are they? I might even use it as a thumbnail and circle it. But what we can say, there is activity at the house, at the last known place where Noah Presgrove was last seen. This is 4 days on, though. Now, maybe in other cases, if something bad was to happen nearby or literally on site, in other cases, other places, it could be cornered off, treated as a crime scene, and maybe you wouldn't be able to go back to that house for a certain length of time. 4 days, possibly 3 days, depends how long it takes to investigate, right? But you'd be treating it as a crime scene. I think the interesting thing is, and correct me if I'm wrong, was it Sarah Long, or was it Becky, one of the individuals that said, at such and such a time, 7 or more so 8 in the morning, I got down there at the scene? Why would you call it the scene? If it's so innocent, if it had nothing to do with this property, with this site, why would you be calling it a scene, right? You only call something a scene is when the crime, the event, something bad happened at that spot. Like how they say the criminal returned to the scene of the crime, right? Or a witness entered the scene. The forensic team arrived at the scene. At the scene of what, though, in the Noah Presgrove case? For Sarah Long to say that, I arrived at the scene where Noah Presgrove's body wasn't found, and he wasn't killed there, supposedly, but he was on the highway. But why am I calling it a scene? Maybe because something did happen there. These dodgy words, could you call it slip of the tongue, Freudian slip? Or some kind of subconscious memory, mindset within, slipping out, revealing the truth? Now, they didn't correct themselves, so maybe it's not quite a Freudian slip or a slip of the tongue, but I don't know, it's kind of like saying something accidentally, the wrong word, the wrong language, which could actually be interpreted as meaning something else, which could be the truth, without them correcting it as well. It's kind of like a half-done version of when, what was it, George Bush, during an interview, said 9/11 was a he almost said conspiracy, but he changed his words after that, fumbled on them. Bit of a slip of the tongue, maybe. In the other footage, though, of the news interview, it was edited out. Why would you need to edit it out if there was nothing to see? And it was just an innocent mistake. Exactly. Just like the Noah Presgrove case. It was just a simple mistake. It's a bit of a mystery, a bit of an accident. Pure innocence. Everyone around, we all care about Noah. So why do you have to maybe lay low and act a bit sneaky at times and use wrong language and inconsistencies? And I know people in the community can just say, well, of course, it's because they're responsible. It's because they're all responsible. Because that person's responsible. But that's going off into the deep end. You know, just to reiterate once again, people talk about language and wording and being appropriate. You know, I see a lot of people who aren't creators that are quite vocal and feel strongly in the knowledge of who is responsible. I don't do that. That is too sudden. It's too rushed. Need to get a full understanding, need to get pure evidence to say that that person did it. Kind of like the James Brenner situation. You can say that person looks more likely now, or this person looks less likely now, or that group of people, how they behave, what they say, them being defensive and threats along the way. It's as if they're trying to hide what they've done, which could link to directly or indirectly the death of Noah Presgrove, or at least the disposing of the body. You have to use very clear and safe wording at times, because if you don't, you could be falsely accusing someone of being a murderer, and the backlash of that, depending on how the receiving end acts, you know, things could go wrong quick. But I just think it's very interesting seeing the party house. All the windows either blacked out, or, you know, the curtains, the windows are shut. Any particular reason besides privacy? The front porch with the light on, the dogs nearby, 3 vehicles, pickup trucks, and then you see the comparisons with the party footage, and then of course the front porch. So yeah. I hope that analysis was clear to understand. You can always rewind it back, and even that footage to really take it in. I still think it's quite creepy, given, you know, the timing of it, the lighting as well. It's kind of like mirroring the point of view what Noah Presgrove was facing at the time of when he was supposedly leaving, especially on foot, because he had no vehicle. He was driven down there. Now, there is some questions about that and his vehicle too, but that can be for a separate video. I still have some separate video ideas. I am glad that, such as yesterday, I was able to tick things off the list. You know, shorter videos, but very relevant, very focused on individual text messages and supposed events that happened. It's difficult to search on Facebook because the sheer amount of stuff. So by my videos, whether it be archiving or analysing more relevant and newer footage by the day, whatever that comes about, you will find it, or hopefully you should at least find it, a bit easier. And I do have a playlist too, all in one place. You can catch all my videos. You can find a playlist where the I symbol is. Make sure to click on it. And once again, it's important, but feel free to share your points, your questions, your perspective of what you saw today. Did you notice anything very odd? Anything peculiar? Did I miss anything? Let me know what you think about those dogs present. Let me know what you think about those vehicles present, 3 of them. And even that person around the side of that house. Is that dodgy or what? I mean, given the context of what's happened days before, and that the place wasn't cornered off or anything like that, and people can just get on like nothing has happened. I mean, what's your take on that? So yeah, feel free, and it will be appreciated if you like and share the video so more people see this footage. I don't know how many people have seen this video before, not this video of mine, but the actual footage of driving down, but nevertheless, just to spread that awareness so you see it from the perspective, almost like boots on ground, up close. You know, maybe footage has been lacking a bit in this case, but when it's possible to share and when it is available, you're gonna get it, okay, in a positive way, okay? And as well, you know, credit once again to a person out there. Just respect the privacy, and yeah, we'll see what happens next. Of course, there are still things that I need to cover. Still the golf clubs. It just depends what order. You know, this needed to, you know, to be done right now. And this is the other important thing, which you may not know. People reach out. Doesn't matter the case. People reach out because they want to, because they feel comfortable to do so. That's what makes it very natural, and that's what's important. It needs to be natural. When it's forced, might not be as genuine. We saw that in the Dylan Rounds case, how people were reaching out left, right and centre, stalking, harassing, demanding answers from those out there. They may have got answers, but was it always the right ones? Who knows? But when it came to me in the Dylan Rounds case, people reached out and it was more genuine, a bit more, you know, focused, and it just felt better, a bit more relaxed as well, and easier to understand the situations. But granted, maybe back in the Dylan Rounds case, there was a bit of favoritism. There was a hierarchical structure in which some people said, sorry, Warlike Raph, I'm not going to give you information because my daddy, my slave master, who I'm really happy that I've got a good relationship with and friendship, I don't want to ruin that. Well, if you're going to put that above other things, well, it really shows where your priorities lie. And another little factor is when you do get some people along the way that may get triggered by the voice, the accent, which I might do, which is the minority. Just remember that if that's the first thing that comes to your mind that you're offended by, you're putting that above the Noah Presgrove case. It shows where your focus lies as well. Not good, is it? And as well, just as a quick little heads up, I think people were saying not y'all, but y'all. Y'all, what y'all doing? Okay, y'all, we're going to the mall. Is that better? I'm a little bit disappointed if I be honest with you. I prefer yowl, a bit more energy, a bit more power, whether it's right or wrong. I prefer that. But if you want to say y'all, hey y'all, what do you want to do? You want to go to the foot? So I'm going into the hood again. Don't know why. I don't know why I keep entering the hood, but it's one of those things. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. You found it interesting. Feel free to share it. If you want to share it on Facebook, feel free. You want to share it on Reddit, you're welcome. Just be aware that the odd Reddit page out there may censor you, just like how they did with me. And I'm not talking about the deep dive one. That's okay. That's fine. The other one. And I still find it weird how the other one would censor me for my analysis of that Daily Mail article, yet still up on their page, on that Reddit page, they're allowing a repost, a transcript of what came from that article. How's that allowed, but my analysis on the matter isn't? What? Silly, isn't it? I just wanted to add that in once again because it's like double standards. So, that out of the way, we'll leave it there for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Goodbye for now.